I am mainly a sculptor. I've been a sculptor for most of my life, since I could remember. But my endless curiosity has led me down the road of trying all different kinds of art mediums. I've tried drawing, I've tried painting, cooking, performance art, music, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. Some years ago, an artist who I kind of admire, I'm a fan of her work, went on a big public space and made some comments that really came out of nowhere and kind of took me off guard.
You'll have nothing to watch but football and mixed martial arts, which are not the arts.
That was very random. Now, it's obvious that Meryl Streep's comments came from a place of just absolute ignorance on the topic, so I don't want to just spend this entire video just bashing her. So I like to use this as a chance to try to explain why MMA is not only art, but it is probably the most interesting sport in the world, and in a lot of cases, it might just be the purest, greatest form of art there is. Academy Award-winning screenwriter Aaron Sorkin once said, "The rules of drama are older than the rules of democracy." You know what's older than both of them? The rules of wrestling. Suck it, Meryl. Wrestling is not only the oldest sport in the world, but proper wrestling technique crosses nature's boundaries. Two bears wrestling in the wild use the exact same techniques as two Olympians wrestling in the Olympics. It is not a show, it is not something that's made up, it is pure, it is law, and it's a part of all of us, even Meryl. First, a very, very brief history and recap of mixed martial arts. Modern day MMA started way, way back in the ancient world as a sport of pankration. It was the dominant sport, and most of the records of pankration, its famous fighters, and their fight records were all kept in the Library of Alexandria and were lost when it was burned down. Once the Roman Empire started to take over, pankration kind of took a backseat. The gladiator games became the headliners. Meanwhile, in the East, Eastern martial arts like Wing Chun, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, or Thai boxing started taking shape. And eventually, boxing became the most marketable and most dominant sport in the world, and especially in the West. The cult of personality started to take over with charismatic figures like Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Louis, list goes on and on and on. Over the years, there was also pretty major segregation that was forming between the different martial arts. It was very frowned upon for a karate guy to be also training Taekwondo and vice versa. This lasted almost all the way until the late 50s and 60s, when a little Chinese boy moved to Hollywood.
Ladies and gentlemen, the city itself has been built out of the rich epics that all of us know. You'll find streets here where the sidewalks are paved with glittering stars, because this crazy crucible of a town is what the sign says. On again from there to Beverly Hills, where the elusive film stars live in their own luxurious suburbs.
X2, take 2.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee. I was born in San Francisco in 1940. I'm 24 right now.
And you worked in motion pictures in Hong Kong?
Yes, since I was around 6 years old.
And when did you leave Hong Kong?
1959, when I was 18.
I see.
Bruce Lee started breaking all the rules. He was the first mainstream figure in the sport that preached the philosophy of self-expression as being the purest form of fighting. He kind of started breaking barriers, training in all the different martial arts, and applying the best aspect of each one to his own fighting style.
Okay.
It is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky and be flooded with a cocky feeling and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean? Blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, that, my friend, is very hard to do, and you have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there.
His teachings of being like water, being adaptable, honestly expressing yourself, even though he was doing it in physical form, can be applied to all manner of artists and art media. The best artists are 100% authentic with the work they make. It was kind of weird seeing a Hollywood star like Meryl Streep preach these things when one of the biggest figures in her own line of work was famous for preaching the exact opposite and changing her industry forever.
Well, Kung Fu, the best example would be a glass of water. Why? Because water is the softest substance in the world, but yet it can penetrate the hardest rock or anything, granite, you name it. Water also is insubstantial. By that I mean you cannot grasp hold of it. You cannot punch it and hurt it. So every Kung Fu man is trying to do that, to be soft like water and flexible and adapt itself to the opponent.
Before I moved to Los Angeles, I used to train in the sport. I was a fan for a long time, and at one point I was even a boxing trainer. I have friends who are active fighters. My past coach was a UFC fighter, and last year when I went back home to visit, I decided to kind of pick their brains a little and see what made them tick as people. This is Gray. Gray was a former UFC fighter. He fought for the world title a couple times and was part of some of the greatest fights in the history of the sport. He now has a gym in Lansing and used to be my coach.
What the camera sees.
Bro, every time I have someone come in and he's bald, I always post it like, bro, people love this shit.
It's so funny, like you're so hopeless. Like I'm just sitting here.
This is Mando. Mondo's a friend. He's a current day MMA fighter. And during this period, he let me follow him around for his fight week right before a major fight he had. This fight was a little bit more special, a little bit different, because it was the first time his younger brother Miguel was fighting on the undercard.
You know, that was my era of coming up, right? Is nobody understood it whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, boxing was big and just a lot of other pro sports, and sport was still in you know, its infancy, and so like art is an expression of, you know, so many different talents, right? And yeah, I mean, how do you explain that to a person?
I mean, in the simplest of terms, to be the best at this game, you have to have had your ass beat a couple times here and there. And there's no way to get your ass beat and not be humble. So you meet the most humble, caring, loving people in this game, you know, real wholesome people. And it's just, I mean, in one way or another, we're all sort of messed up that we love to do this, but it's what we love to do, and it's our art. It's our art form. It's how we express ourselves. It's how we, you know, put our stamp on the world.
Or argue that, right? Yeah. And but yeah, you just have to, you know, again, growing up, coming up with a new sport and coming up like that, you know, that's all you heard. Like, what are you doing? That's so stupid, or that sport's barbaric.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know.
I just realized I'm hungry as hell, bro. I can't wait till I get home. Eat that salmon, that avocado. Fuck. Oh yeah, nice and steamy.
You see, I find fighters to be some of the most interesting, not only athletes, but people in the world. More so than any actor or artist. In a lot of ways, you can learn a lot about them as people just by watching how they fight. In that environment, in the cage or in the ring, there is no space for being fake. You are your authentic self. George St. Pierre, during his long title reign, always fought like he had the perfect plan. He knew exactly what his opponent was going to do, and he had the answers for it. Later on, after he retired, it became public that he suffered from OCD.
The reason of my success is because I'm crazy. I'm an obsessive compulsive person, which is a good thing for if you want to be champion, you want to be successful at something. Because this obsessiveness will drive you completely insane. You will completely direct your life towards your goal. Everything that you will do every day, every second of your life would be your goal will be to get closer to your goal, everything you do.
Khabib grew up in a very hostile part of the world where training and discipline was just ingrained in him since he was a kid. In his fights, he's a relentless pressure wrestler, always coming forward, eating shots, and taking you down. In his prime, Conor McGregor was a man of sheer confidence, and he always believed in his own vision. As a counterpuncher, it seemed like he was always 2 steps ahead, and he saw everything coming, both in the fight and in his career. The reason some boxing fights and some MMA fights become as popular and as well known as they are is because of the 2 contrasting personalities of the 2 fighters.
When you're walking into the ring, it's really like one of the most honest moments you can be with yourself. It's almost like a sense of calm, and then something just switches, just like you cross that barrier and you're just not the same human being. It's just like almost like 2 different people.
When you're 6 months away from a fight, training is 99% physical and 1% mental. But the closer you get to the fight, the more it becomes cerebral. The training's done, and now it's 99% mental and 1% physical.
Like, I really feel it appeals to everybody. I mean, the 3 Fs: food, fighting, and fucking, right? And it's just...
How's it feel fighting the same night as your brother?
Man, it's crazy, man. I can't really describe it. I think it's one of those things that, like, I thought about it for so long. Like, I knew this day was eventually gonna come, but I thought I got all types of emotions about it, like good and bad. I think more so just because I get the shorter end of the stick, since I gotta watch him go out there. I gotta go through those emotions, and then I gotta go backstage and get my mind right for my fight as well. So I mean, the bigger end of the bargain is on my end, but it's all good, man. It's a once in a lifetime thing, and I'm trying to look at it on the positive side, which is that